So, good evening and welcome back to the Airborne Lawyer YouTube channel. Decided to do a flight sim live stream tonight, and you join me on my approach into Washington, Dulles. We're 7 hours 23 minutes into the flight, and we're a little bit south of New York. In fact, let's just show you the map so you can see exactly where we are. So let's close that down for a second. So this is our flight so far. I'm just going to turn down the P3D. There we go. This is our flight so far, all the way from London Heathrow, and we are a little bit to the west of New York right now, and we are about to make our way into Dulles via the Hyper 8 standard terminal arrival route. Now we've commenced our descent, and our first key waypoint for the descent is Lurch, just here, where we've got to be at 14,000 feet. So let's take a quick look at the airport itself. Now we're expecting to go into ILS runway 1 centre. So it's one of the northbound runways into Dulles. We've checked flight radar 24, and I confirm that aircraft are currently landing on the 01s. So we'll take a little bit more of a look at that in a little while. Let's just go back to the Hyper 8 chart for the moment. So we need to be at 14,000 feet by Lurch, and then at 10,000 feet by Hyper. We're going to then expect to sort of head south, probably down to T-Con, and then turn back in and head north into runway 1 centre. I'm doing this flight on VATSIM, but there are no controllers at the moment online at Dulles. If that changes, they will give us a call, and we will contact them. So we've already descended down through nearly 12,000 feet, coming down through flight level 287 at the moment. Good time, I think, to take a look at the checklist. So our descent checklist, let's first of all check recall, which is all clear. Notes we've just been taking a look at. So we've taken a look at the approach chart, and we've taken a look at the approach plate for ILS 1 centre. Auto brakes, well, they're nice long runways at Dulles. They're not especially heavy, so I think we should be fine on auto brakes 1. And landing data, so VREF and minimums. So let's take a look now down at the electronic flight bag and get ourselves ready for the landing. So KIAD is the ICAO code for Dulles. We're expecting 1 centre. And, oh, that's a great question. What is the weather doing down at Dulles? Well, let's take a quick look again at flight radar. As I say, there is currently no ATC on at Dulles, so we'll just take a quick look at flight radar 24 just here. So it's overcast, but it seems to be dry. It's 25 degrees centigrade. The wind is at 330 knots, 330 degrees at 6 knots, and the air pressure is 1009. That's in hectopascals. That translates into 29.80 in inches of mercury, and it's also going to be quite humid. Let's jump back into the sim then. So we're going to say it's dry. And the winds, there were 330 at 6. I often get this issue. Outside air temperature was 25 degrees, and the QNH was 1009. There it goes again. Let's try that. There we go. We'll do Cat 1. Flaps, we're going to do flaps 30. Anti-ice, we will just have that off. I'll give no credit to reversers. Spoilers, we'll do auto brakes, we'll have auto brake 1. Let's just check the old gross weight right now. And our gross weight is currently, I'm just looking down here, our gross rate is currently 172.2. So let's just put in 167,500 as an estimated gross landing weight. We're not going to add anything to the VREF, so let's just calculate that. That gives us a VREF speed here of 143 knots. So I'm going to just send that down to the FMC. And I'm going to accept that. So we're expecting a VREF of 143 knots. So we've got our VREF. What we now need to do is check out if we have what our minimum descent altitude needs to be for runway 1 center, if I can get my words out clearly. So let's check the ILS plate here. So where are we? Minimums looks to be decision altitude of 386. So let's pop that in. On the Dreamliner it's the nearest 10, so I'm going to do that to 390. And it's pretty small, but if you zoom right in here on the primary flight display, you can just see that we've got the minimums there, except I've set it to 370 when I meant 390. There we go. So landing data and landing data VREF minimums all sorted, and approach briefing, well, we've looked at the chart, we've looked at the approach plate, that all is done as well. So our descent checklist is now complete. Next is the approach checklist, and the approach checklist is where we need to check the altimeters. Throughout the United States, the standard transition altitude is 18,000 feet, so we will be switching over shortly. Just pop on the seatbelt signs. And let's take a quick look outside. Ooh.
Descent checklist.
So the Dreamliner has performed typically well all the way over here today. Nice flight time, as I say, about just over 7.5 hours now. Mostly cruising up at flight level 400. Had a slightly hairy moment at one point mid-Atlantic. If you check out my Instagram, which is at airborne_lawyer, you will see a post which I put up from this flight where we crossed paths with another British Airways aircraft. It was a Boeing 777-300 on its way back from Los Angeles, which passed on exactly the same track 1,000 feet below us. Quite dramatic by VATSIM standards. So that was a bit of fun. Otherwise, a pretty uneventful flight. I'm just going to chuck away the checklist for the moment. I'm going to throw the ICAS over to the right hand side just so I can see how we're doing on our approach. So our next waypoint now is Lurch. We're 19 miles away from Lurch, and by the time we get to Lurch we need to be down at flight level 140, which I have dialed up in the MCP over here. we've just passed through flight level 180, so we can now just switch over to local temperature and pressure. Already going to set the altimeter to 1009. And just over in the VNAV page on the flight management computer, I'm just going to pop in 18,000 as transition altitude. It was 7,500 feet when we left Heathrow. Also just going to switch from hectopascals over to inches of mercury, so we can now see that the altimeter is reading 29.80 just down there instead of 1009. Just taking a quick look now at our flight plan. So if we go to the destination page, I'm just going to make this a bit larger, there we go. So you can see we are going down to Ticon. So we're going down the eastern side of the airport. Let's just check that against the star. So as expected, we're coming down the right hand side here to Ticon, and then we can turn in. Now in practice, I'm probably not going to go as far as Ticon, to be fair. If there's not much traffic in the sky, I will I'll just turn in a little bit earlier, provided I'm not too high. Again, the pink arrow just up here showing that we've now crossed Larch. So what I'm now going to do is dial up 10,000 feet in readiness to cross Hyper at 10,000 feet and 250 knots. So selecting 10,000 in the MCP, take it back to the map. So got a VNAV, an FMC message just coming up here, which says unable to maintain VNAV descent speed, extend speed brakes as required. So I'm just going to put out the speed brakes a little bit. Few airports just within sight out here. Now I don't know why we're turning to the left right now. I thought we were going direct to Hyper. So let's just take a look at what's going on there. Okay, that's a little bit odd. So it already seems to be saying we're going to Sigby, which is okay, but let's just why is it doing that? That's a bit strange. I'm just going to do is stick it into heading select mode and fly direct to Sigby. just whilst the LNAV mode seems to be a little bit unreliable. Not quite sure why that is. So just keep the speed up here to 250. Got a little bit of a way to go to get to the south of the airport. Going to stick the wing lights on, and we'll pop the landing lights on as well. We are at 10,000 feet. So just taking a quick look here at the navigation display, just in the top left-hand corner you can see KDCA. That is the Washington National Airport, which is right in the middle of downtown DC. So downtown Washington is somewhere over there. I don't think we're going to see very much of it, but it's somewhere over there. I know that Dulles is quite a way out of the downtown. I'm still up at 10,000 feet here. Part of that is to ensure we don't spend too long at a really low altitude. If I descend too early, I know that it says I need to be at 7,000 at SIGB and 5,000, 4,000, etc. But if I'm not careful, I've had this before coming to Dulles, you can have it where you are at very low altitude for a long time. So I'm just going to stay at 10,000 just for a moment. What I'm just going to try is I do not understand what it is doing here. Okay, sorry, I was going to say I'm going to try going now direct to MOAT. Okay, so let's have a look at the flight, the approach plate again. So I was going to go direct to MOAT, but for some reason it's already jumped ahead and seems to think that we want to just go straight to Yak, and a few moments ago it was saying Hoozle. So I do not know what this is doing. Let's just see if I can now get LNAV to re-engage and take us direct to Yak. If it can, that's great. It seems to be doing that. And a quick reminder that by Yak, well, we certainly need to be at 4,000 feet, possibly a bit lower. So I'm now going to select 4,000 feet, and I'm going to do this on vertical speed mode. Something doesn't seem to be quite right with the FMC and the route here, but it's working. Just about. We've got the plane on a pretty decent course, just about following our approach plate. Let's just have a look again here. We are just fractionally to the east of where we ought to be, and we're now on a straight line down to Yak. However, the skies around Washington DC this afternoon are pretty clear. So it's just gone 9:30 in the UK. That's where I'm doing this flight. So 5 hours behind in Washington DC. I guess it's 4:30. there's a few planes just behind me. I'll tell you what I'll do here actually is just bring up SimAware on my browser window so that you can see where we are. And where are we? There we are, Speedbird 293. Okay, that is us. And there's a few aircraft, there's a few aircraft in the area. So this is Dulles, just down here. There's an aircraft on the ground. Got a 747-400 United. And we've also got an A320neo making its approach into 01 right. This aircraft here is going down to Orlando from Washington National, so don't need to worry about him, and there's no flight plan for this aircraft. So there's only a couple of aircraft in Dulles right now, and there's nothing else which will get in the way. There are a couple of aircraft behind us, so there's this United A320neo, and there's also a CRJ 700 a little bit further back coming down from LaGuardia. However, it's pretty calm in the skies right now, so don't need to be too worried. As I say, I'm on VATSIM, just glancing down at my radio stack here. I am on Unicom 122.8. So I will announce. I'll announce once I'm established on the runway 01 center localizer. Let's go back to the checklist, because we can also now click or tick even the altimeters box. That's all done, and our next checklist is landing. Just checking the situation on VATSIM, and I see that we do now have some air traffic controllers on at Dulles, just a ground controller who we will speak to once we're on the ground on 121.9, so I'm just going to tune that in down here. In addition, we have Dulles ATIS online as well. That's 134.85. So I'm just going to put that over here. Let's see if we can put that on.
Information India 19520 Zulu 1330 at 5. Visibility 10. Few clouds at 2,500. 9,000 scattered. Ceiling 15,000 broken. Temperature 25. 2.17. Altimeter 2980. Arrivals expect ILS or visual runway 1 center. Runway 1 right. Departing runway 30. Runway 1 left. Simultaneous approaches are being conducted to parallel runways. North is to airmen. Read my call runway assignments and I'll hold short instructions. Operating mode C on no taxiway and runway. Ramp is non-movement area. Call for taxi on west or east side of ramp. Advise on initial contact. You have information India. Advise on initial contact. You have information India.
Okay, information India. And that is pretty much bang on with what we got from Flight Radar 24 a few moments ago. Now if we just jump to the other side of the cockpit, we can now get a really decent view of Dulles. I have recently invested in the Flight Beam Studios scenery, so that's what you're seeing just down there. And the runway nearest us just here, running from south to north, is 1 right. Just the other side of the control tower, around about there, is 1 center, and in the distance is 1 left. So we're going to be coming in on that center runway, and we're going to be parking up in this concourse here. So not very far to go now at all. So now at 4,000 feet. Just going to pop down the heads-up display. Going to take us down now to 3,000 and start to slow us up a bit as well. So we'll go down to 220. I do find that the MCP switches on the Dreamliner are so sensitive. I just cannot get it to 220. 18, 19, 20. There we go. I'll be damned if I'm not going to get there now. Okay. Just a little bit of auto brake. Speed brake there. And we've also now just gone through our minimum clean, so I'm just going to put out 1 degree of flaps. Continue that descent down to 2,000 feet. Just looking on the primary flight display, I can now see the glide slope is, well, we're just about to drop underneath the glide slope. And I'm going to turn on to base in just a moment or two's time. Just select the correct heading.
2,500.
I'm going to start really pulling back on the speed now. Down to 180 and full speed brakes. And start to see those autumn colours coming out there. This is my first airliner flight in September, and already Prepare 3D is responding to the change in season and telling me that it's autumn, or if you're watching this in the US, the fall. Slowing up nicely now. 5 degrees of flap.
Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation for landing, please return all seat backs and tray tables to their upright and stowed position.
Just going to take us to 290 just to make sure that we are
turned off and stow all carry-on items. Additionally,
at 90 degrees for our base leg.
Return to their original position. Thank you.
And I'm now going to turn to an intercept heading for the localizer. I'll just turn to 320 to establish. It's a bit too bright out there to make much sense of the heads-up display right now, so I'm just going to leave that. Here comes the localizer, so I'm going to stick on approach hold. And there we go. Now, just whilst that's doing its thing, let's just take a quick look once again at the one center chart. So Mr. Approach climbed to 3,000 on 011 degrees, inbound FDK VOR on the 200 radio, and then hold at FDK. Okay, that's fine. So 3,000 and 011 degrees. Slow it up a bit more again now, down to 160. A reminder that our VREF speed is 143 knots. I'm going to put out 10 degrees of flaps. Dallas traffic speedbird 293 is established ILS 1 centre, 8 miles, Dallas traffic. So just announcing on Newcom there that I'm on my way in. Take ourselves down to, here we go again, just trying to select 143, there we go. Okay, glide slope is starting to move. Get the gear down. On the auto brakes. 17 degrees of flaps. 20, 25, and 30. Okay, this is all looking good. I'm just going to select 3,000 feet in the event that we have to do a go around. So it's climbing to 3,000 and 011 degrees. So quick check of the checklist. Speed brake is armed, landing gear is down, flaps are at 30. And we're all set up for a missed approach should we need to do that. I'm going to turn off the autopilot now. And turn off the auto throttle. And I have control.
1,000.
So I'm on the flight directors. I can see also that I'm on the localizer on my primary flight display, and looking ahead I've got 2 white and 2 red. So I'm triple checking there that I'm on the right approach profile, and it's all looking good at the moment.
Pulse traffic in at 1165 over Hustle at 4,000.
300.
Dallas traffic speedbird 293 short final 1 center. Dallas traffic.
200. Approaching minimums. 100 minimums.
Land.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Reverse thrust. And brakes to manual. So slight float just at the end there. But only very slight. Overall I'm fairly happy with that. I've done better, but as always I've also done a lot worse. Landing lights can go off, strobe can go off.
At that time, please remember to check around your seating area,
Bring in the speed brakes and start bringing the flaps.
Please take care when opening the overhead bin.
Dallas traffic, speedbird 293 has vacated runway 1 center. Dallas traffic. And let's taxi to the gate. So I certainly like the scenery, it's very nice. Looks great. So we are on taxiway Yankee. Let's just lower the speed a little bit and just let the plane coast along. To be honest, you can just ride the brakes in the Dreamliner. And we're going to take a look. Oh, we're being asked to contact ground on 1219, so let's just do that. He's going to give us our gate, which is going to be helpful. Dallas ground, Speedbird 293 with you on Yankee.
Speedbird 293, taxi Yankee to the ramp, sir.
Yankee to the ramp, Speedbird 293. So, I'm guessing I can take any gate that I like. So I'm going to go onto the concourse alongside Delta, just here. You can see again I'm the pink arrow. So I'm going to go Yankee and Delta. And then the question is, what do the gates look like? So it's literally any of these. We'll just go for one of the Delta gates that's a heavy. Let's see what we get from GSX. Concourse Delta. So we've got 3 there. So we've got 3, 5 and 7. Which one's closest? We'll go for 5, I think. Let's go for 5. Okay, so we'll get the APU on whilst we're taxiing in. Turn off the wing lights now. Sorry, strobe's already off. Here is Delta on the left-hand side now. Just gone onto the stat page on the system menu and I can see that the APU is starting to power up. So just a quick live stream video tonight. I'm trying to do a few more live streams. There's something spontaneous and fun about just clicking broadcast live and just going for it and seeing how I get on with it. So thank you for watching, I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, of course, please click on subscribe. Please click on like. Let me know what you think. If there's any destinations you'd like me to fly to, let me know. Coming up soon on the Airborne Lawyer YouTube channel, we've got another instalment of the TBM 930 World Tour, which I'm doing on Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. We will very soon be flying from Santiago in Chile. Oh, sorry, I've just got to say, what an interesting vehicle. I think I've heard about these at Dulles, actually. Let's go between the terminal buildings. Yeah, we're going to, on the TBM 930 World Tour, we're going from Santiago in Chile up to La Paz in Bolivia. So look out for that. I'll be uploading that very soon. Let's take a quick look outside and see how we're doing. Not too bad. Okay, parking brakes are on, engines can go off, seatbelt signs can go off, beacon off, taxi lights off. Oh dear, GSX tells me that wasn't a very good parking. So, 8 hours and 3 minutes after takeoff from London Heathrow earlier this afternoon, we are now at the gate here at Dulles. I love the scenery. I can't say I love the architecture. This looks an extremely utilitarian airport. I've never been to Dulles in real life, but this is not exactly an attractive collection of airport buildings. If you compare it to, you know, Dubai or something, this looks a little bit basic. Okay, so the gateway has, the jetway is connected. You can open up the door, the cargo doors as well. Get the wheel chocks on, plug in the external power, and we can get deboarding underway. Plug in the external power. I'm going to turn off the APU, going to turn off the RS, and just start turning everything off. Turn off the fuel pumps, anti-ice, equipment cooling and fans. And I think we'll call it a day there. So yeah, look out for the next episode of the TBM 930 World Tour, coming very soon on the Airborne Lawyer YouTube channel. And look out as well for more short and long haul flying on both Prepare 3D and on MSFS 2020, which I will be doing in the very near future. Thanks very much for watching, and I will speak to you again soon.